Happy Easter. He is risen. He is risen indeed. That's the greeting that the early followers of Jesus and down through the centuries have given each other as we celebrate the final victory over death. As we went through these reflections these last few days, I'd like us to consider on our last one the summation of each of them. Jesus began on Thursday at the Passover meal, what we call the Last Supper, by giving his followers a new commandment. And that's paramount to understand. That's the focal point. After he washed their feet, he said, I'm giving you this new commandment. I want you to love as I love. And that was a paradigm shift from the old commandment, which was do unto others, to love your neighbor as you love yourself. And then his disciples had to digest that new commandment, which he gave them 3 times, and told them, this is what I'm telling you to do. This is the path I want you to follow. And then they observed after the Passover meal in the next few days, Jesus living out that commandment. And we went through the reflections on Good Friday, where here he is now going through the mockery of an illegal trial by civil and religious authorities, being sentenced to death as other revolutionaries of his day, starting different movements, wound up dying. And when they died, their movement died with them. And here Jesus now is on a cross. And we learned during the crucifixion of all the many lessons, but we focused on this particular one with the thief next to him. And this thief represented someone who felt completely abandoned, someone who also believed somehow or another that he was justifiably being punished for the crimes he committed. And next to him was someone who committed no crimes and yet was suffering the same punishment he was. And in his observance of Jesus, as Jesus forgave those who actually put him on the cross, he looked at him and said, could you absolve me? Could you remember me? And Jesus looked at him and said, I've come here, and I'm obviously paraphrasing, I've come here right next to you, you who see yourself as the lowest, you who see yourself justifiably being condemned and dying. I'm coming here and I'm absolving you. And I'm telling you today, you will be with me in paradise. I just won't remember you. I will be joined with you forever. And then on that same cross, Jesus goes through another reflection that we went over in forsakenness, where, my God, why have you forsaken me? And we went over how each of us in our lives may have experienced, and most of us sooner or later experience some sort of betrayal, whether it's something on our part, something we've caused, or something done to us. But we've experienced what it's like to have that forsaken feeling, that feeling of I'm alone. That which I've attached myself to is no longer there. And Jesus experienced that. And in that, we learned his lesson again on how he said, follow my command to love as I love. He, in that moment, put his hands and put his life into God's caring when he said, into your hands I commit my spirit. In other words, even when I don't understand what's going on, I am not going to take the position. I don't believe you. I can't trust you any longer. All I can say is I don't understand, but yet in my lack of understanding, I still will trust you with my life. And that was our reflection that we had on Saturday, that silent Saturday, when what's happening and his disciples are saying, oh my goodness, everything we believed in, everything we hoped for, the kingdom that we thought was going to now come about, that we were going to be part of, is all gone. And now we have Easter. And here's the very simple reflection, but yet profound, and one that might be the most difficult to believe, and yet it has the most convincing evidence. Jesus comes back from the dead, appears to his followers, eats with them, tells them to touch him, and says, this is not a ghost thing. This is not some, oh, well, you'll have a good feeling forever and you'll be joined again to some sort of force in the universe. No, you're actually going to come back and be known as you were known. Just like you know me, you're going to be known. And just like I have flesh, and this flesh is not corruptible like the flesh that you're presently in that's under the sentence of death. This flesh is not corruptible. This is an eternal state that you are going to be in, because I've accomplished crucifying death. I've accomplished destroying that thing that prevails on every human being, that sentence that we're under. And Easter, we celebrate this resurrection, that the end of our story is not a story where we say goodbye forever. The end of our story is see you later, with those of us. And I could tell you in my own life, and I just share this, I experienced the pain of loss of people that were very close to me. And I remember when I lost my own father, how that affected me so deeply. And like Peter, I found myself just almost denying everything and saying, why is this happening? And this is too painful for me to handle. And yet somehow or another, Jesus in his mercy, he comes and reminds us, just like he did with Peter, just like he did with his apostles. He said, look, I'm back. And all I'm asking you once again, and I'm giving you that same command, I want you to follow the command of love all throughout your life. In every circumstance, in every situation, do not forsake to love as I loved, to trust as I trusted. And you are going to live forever in the kingdom that I promised. And I ask the Lord to help each of us on this Easter Sunday to celebrate and to remember that we have a great day of being reunited with those who have gone on before us. Some of you have lost your family members that you're going to see again. And as we look at each other around through cameras rather than tables on this particular Easter, let us be reminded that Jesus said to us, I am the resurrection and the life. And he and she who believe in me, even though you die, you will live. Because the end of your story is life, not death. God bless you and happy Easter.